Welcome to another episode of the Life Creative Podcast. This is a show dedicated to helping you get the most from your creativity, offering you inspiration, suggestions, and discussion. So let's get on with the show. One of the worst excuses I hear from people about not starting something is too many people have already done it, right? There's too many people in this space. There's too many people have already created the thing I'm going to create. There's too many people have written about it, photographed it, sketched it, painted it, you name it. Well, that's just frankly the wrong attitude. See, the problem is that you're looking at it from the perspective that somehow all these people have got it right, and therefore whatever you do is gonna just not matter. It's not even gonna compete. Well, what if they didn't get it right? What if they got it wrong and you're gonna get it right? And also their take on it is not your perspective on something. And therefore, it's not been done before in the way that you would do it. So the statement's actually inaccurate, right? Yes, it's been done by a lot of other people, but not the way that you see it, not the way that you do it. So I think you should go ahead and do it anyway. Now, yep, okay, it's going to be tougher for you because there's going to be a lot of people that have done something similar. I think that's an accurate statement, and therefore if you're making something that you're looking to sell, be it a product, a service, whatever it may be, okay, that's going to be harder because yes, you've got competition there. But, firstly, as people always say, the more competition there is, the better you will try to do something and the harder you will work to make it work for you and shine above the competition. So there's no downside there, right? So you've got to work a little harder. Well, that's just the way it goes sometimes. And every time we all work a bit harder, it always ends up being better than we maybe had anticipated from the onset of a project. So yeah, other people have done it, but not the way you're going to do it. Now, we're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, I'm going to talk about this some more and hopefully inspire you to just go ahead and do these things. Have you ever thought about creating your own podcast? Certainly you must like podcasts because you're listening to this one, and I'm sure many others. Well, if you've ever thought to yourself, I bet I could do that better, or I have a subject that I'd like to make a podcast for, then you can go ahead and do that very easily using Anchor.fm. In fact, Anchor.fm is the site that I use to host this very podcast. And what I like about it is they provide me all the tools and walk me through all the steps to not only creating my podcast, but very easily taking care of all the necessary details for distributing it as well. So if you want to go ahead and easily create your own podcast, start today on Anchor.fm. That's Anchor.fm. I'm going to use an example here of a way to sort of express how I think that this could work for you. So I'm going to use my example with podcasting because you're listening to a podcast. So let's just do it this way. Now, yeah, there are a ton of podcasts out there these days. And, it may not be immediately obvious, but there's an awful lot of podcasts on these kind of topics that I talk about. Creativity, making things, inspiring you to make things, sort of living in a more artistic way, those kind of things. There's actually an awful lot out there, and that means there's a lot of competition. Now, I could look at it and say, well, why should I bother? What am I going to say that hasn't been said before? Well, I'm sure there are things, and it's just kind of human nature to assume that someone else has always done something better than you, right? There's always that inbuilt human fear of, my stuff is not going to be as good as someone else's. And frankly, you just have to get over it. Otherwise, just give up now and save yourself the trouble. The other way to look at this as well is to say, you know what? There are so many people talking about the same thing that I'm talking about that actually means the topics that I'm talking about have a better chance of getting in front of a bigger audience, and therefore that bigger audience may be listening to somebody else, but maybe somewhere along the way they'll stumble across mine. Well, if they wasn't listening to someone else to begin with, they may never have found mine. right? So in a way, all of that competition is helping to promote the subject that, you're looking to get into. So, let's take it out of podcasting. Let's take it into something else. Photography, for example, another passion of mine, right? Yeah, a lot of people taking photographs, right? Now that everybody's got a camera on their phones and, that everybody thinks they can take great pictures. And a lot of people take fantastic pictures. But that doesn't mean you should just give up taking pictures because someone else is doing it as well. Again, it's all perception, right? And you got to stop and remember that everything you do and everything you make is made in the way that you're going to do it, not somebody else. Even if you're imitating somebody else's style, it's still going to have that influence of you in it. It's just unavoidable. So, again, yeah, it's been done before, but not the way you're going to do it. So keep doing it. Go ahead and do it. And who's to say that by you starting something in a field that is heavily populated with competition, you may find that you stumble across something that really resonates with an audience and you could be the next big thing. Well, if you don't try it, how are you going to know, right? If we all lived with that fear of, one person, 100 people, 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people have all done this thing I'm going to do, and so I won't bother, how would we ever find anything new? How would we ever, create new trends, new styles, new industries, right? None of these things would happen if it wasn't for that one person who said, to hell with it, I'm going to do it anyway. Now, finally, going back to podcasts, one of the things I hear a lot is, well, there's so many, huge celebrities that do them, and I'm never going to compete with them. Well, yeah, okay, that's one way to look at it. But again, think about it, right? Let's say that a celebrity does a podcast, or a celebrity takes photographs, or a celebrity posts a painting online. Well, the next thing you know is now all of those people have followed that celebrity online to look at whatever it may be, the medium that they're producing, right? So now, again, circling back to what I said before, there's now every chance that they're going to find yours. So in essence, look at it and say, I just got a bunch of free publicity because, celebrity X is now doing the thing that I'm doing. So there's a good chance they may find you too. So I want you to think about everything I've said here this week. Just take it away, think about it, reflect upon the way you look at things. And if you found this helpful, like, subscribe, leave a review, tell friends about it, but mostly be inspired by it, right? Don't be afraid to go do the thing that you do. So that's it. You can find me at peterwhittam.com. If you want to contact me, you can go to peterwhittam.com/contact. You can also, of course, in the show notes for this, if you're listening on Anchor, there is a link where you can leave me an audio comment. I'd love to get your feedback on it. And with that, let's just go start a conversation.